Anybody say anything that night. It's not that they care about the office of the president. It's that they care they're losing. That's why it's coming.
I think you got it all wrong. When I think listen, this is not an administration that has lied. It just hasn't. Okay.
Not
you
one
can
lie?
laugh and you can
Not
stop.
one lie?
No, but you supported an administration that lied about the size of the crowd at the inauguration.
Do you honestly expect us to believe that they've never lied?
I think you're confusing administrations. And I think part of the reason that this hasn't been shut down, frankly, is because there's been breathless and somewhat reckless reporting by media.
The journalists? You're saying the journalists are wrong?
Yes, I do. I think that when let me give you examples. I think that when journalists jump on the George Stephanopoulos interview and talk about how Mark Warner didn't run, I think they're wrong. Mark Warner ran. He ran for 5 hot minutes, but he got close enough to run.
We have to
Joe
defend,
Biden saying that is not a lie.
We have to defend the journalists. I'm sorry.
Anna. Goodness gracious, man. You can't make this stuff up, man. The View co-host recently lost it on CNN over, take a guess, over another panelist calling out Joe Biden's lies. And what happens next is nothing less than spectacular. Check this out.
Coleman Hughes, a cognitive test. She says it's a good idea, Anna.
Look, Joe Biden needs a way to shut down all of this noise that's going on, right? I think he thought that if he kept doing events, that would shut it down. I think he thought that if he sent that letter that he did to Congress earlier in the week, that would shut it down. It hasn't shut it down. There's got to be a way to shut this down because this is unsustainable. We cannot continue in this breathless reporting about Joe Biden's every word and splicing everything he says and does. So I think both candidates should take a cognitive exam.
And that was the question as well. I mean, it would probably be a smart political
I think it should be a law. I think we need tax returns for anybody running for 10 years for anybody running for president. And I think we should know that they're not incapable, mentally incapable and insane. It would be a good idea to make it a law. I'm all for it, for both.
And to Anna's point, Joe Biden has not shut this down. I mean, the governor suggested that he said he's going to stay in the race, but this just keeps coming back.
No, it's been an issue in my view for at least 18 months, really, if you look at him on camera. And after the debate, everyone saw what they saw. Now, we were all watching it at once, and that's why the dam broke with the debate. So I think absolutely, if he wants to make a statement, he should absolutely do a cognitive test with multiple witnesses from both parties in the room. The longer he doesn't do it, the more he is saying to people, I'm afraid to do it because I'm afraid of the results.
Okay,
the more
I'm not advocating a cognitive test with multiple witnesses.
Well,
that's not like a virginity test, okay? And the medieval ages.
He doesn't need it. He doesn't. I mean, his issue is not.
Classic Anna, constantly cutting people off. But it gets better. Both candidates should take a cognitive test, Anna. Are you actually suggesting that? Because I don't think it'll turn out the way you think it will. It's absurd. Trump has time and time again provided documentation from his doctor stating his cognitive health. He's demonstrated his mental fitness time and time again. It's Biden who's showing clear signs of decline. This attempt to drag Trump into this is just a distraction. If Biden wants to prove he's fit for office, he should just take the daggone test. Just go do it. And he could shut all of this up once and for all. But I agree with her, though. Maybe we should have a law. I'll give you the tax returns in exchange for Biden taking a cognitive test and making it public to the American people. Because, we should know whether our president is or isn't mentally capable enough to do the job. We should know this.
A one-off cognitive test. His issue is that he's super old. He is an obvious decline from when he ran in 2020 and from when he served as vice president. And no test is going to reverse what we've seen. The reason he's having so much trouble with all this is because he spent his entire career getting used to his own largely fabricated personal narrative being successfully covered up. This is disorienting for him. This is the first time in his life that his personal narrative is not being covered up, either by Democrats or by media looking the other way. This is the first time we've seen on full display the truth of Joe Biden. They have covered this up for too long, for so long, and it's a scandal.
Scott, when you talk about covering up personal narrative, are you talking about the loss of his wife and daughter? Are you talking about the loss of his son to cancer? Are you
saying Joe Biden has never made up a story about his personal
No, but I'm saying
narrative?
his personal narrative is a narrative about a man who has been steeped in pain and steeped in things that most of us would struggle to get through, who kept battling away at it, kept showing up for people, kept fighting for the middle class, who grew up in small town Scranton. That's his personal narrative. That's what it is that attracts people to Joe Biden. It's been a thing that sort of held him up the entire time in his political career. And I think
The shills doing what the shills do. For the life of me, I just don't understand why these people keep doing this. But there must be a hefty check involved.
it's kind of like not right for anybody to say.
You think it's
that
not?
he's-
You
that
think
he's
it-
covering that up?
You think
that's
it's
so honestly true about his life.
First of all, he has told lie after lie after lie about his life.
Did I
But
say
the-
anything right
but
now
the-
that was a lie?
But the biggest
Did I
lie.
just say anything that was a lie?
Do you want to go through and rehash all the stories he has taught?
No, but
told
I just
about
gave
you?
you a narrative.
But here's the deal. But here's the deal.
Scott,
No,
you
no, let me
support-
finish
let
my
me just
point.
say this. You support Donald Trump. This is a
No,
guy who began.
I haven't announced who I
Okay,
work
well,
here.
you're
I
obviously
don't
not
work for
supporting
anybody.
Don- you're not
You
obviously
give
not
money to Joe
supporting
Biden.
Joe
I don't
Biden.
give money to anybody. I'm
I
here to
will
comment on the
happily
news.
give all my
I'm here to
money to
comment
Joe
on the
Biden
news.
because if the other choice is Donald Trump, that's a binary choice. But okay, the other choice is a guy who began lying about how to dodge the draft because of made-up bone spurs. He doesn't even remember which foot he had those.
So what level of
supposed-
lying is acceptable? This is what I don't get about this Biden versus Trump lying debate.
But where is the lie?
Apparently, if you tell one less lie than Donald Trump, that's good enough. Is that the bar you want to set? This is a scandal. What has been covered up about Biden for the last 3.5 years or more by his staff, by Democrats? Look at this George Clooney op-ed. Well, 3 weeks ago, we all saw it. Well, why didn't anybody say anything that night? It's not that they care about the office of the president. It's that they care they're losing. That's why it's coming to light.
Absolutely. 3 weeks ago, when they had that fundraiser, and it looked very bad, KJP, she got up there and said it was a cheap fake. If I'm not mistaken, I believe the cackling hens from The View, they did the same thing, said it wasn't real. That Biden is sharp. You've had people on MSDNC, they got out there and they've said, oh, Joe Scarborough, oh, Biden's sharp. He still has it. And then an op-ed comes out from George Clooney, and obviously we all seen the debate. And now these people are scrambling, trying to save face. This is ridiculous. And we know what time it is with Anna. Now, I thought she was a Republican, but I'm guessing that is not the case. She's on The View, owned by Disney, and she's obviously a far left progressive liberal. Obviously.
I think you got it all wrong. When I think listen, this is not an administration that has lied. It just hasn't. Okay.
Not
you
one
can
lie.
laugh and you can
Not
stop.
one lie.
How can she say that with a straight face? How can she say that with a straight face?
I know, but you supported an administration that lied about the size of the crowd at the inauguration.
Do you
that
honestly
lied
expect
for a
us to
living.
believe that they've never
I think
lied?
you're confusing administrations. And I think part of the reason that this hasn't been shut down, frankly, is because there's been breathless and somewhat reckless reporting by
Are you
media.
the
and by
journalists?
people-
You're saying the journalists are wrong?
Yes, I do. I think that when okay, let me give you examples. I think that when journalists jump on the George Stephanopoulos interview and talk about how Mark Warner didn't run, I think they're wrong. Mark Warner ran. He ran for 5 hot minutes, but he got close enough to run.
I'm sorry, we
where
have to
Joe
defend-
Biden is saying that is not a lie.
We have to defend the journalists. I'm sorry. We have journalists at CNN, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times.
I think that
These are
when
journalists.
I think that when
Scott and Anna, let me
journalists
just take a
jump
pause
to
here for a
conclusions
second.
about a Parkinson's specialist that has been part of the White House medical unit
That they've
for
lied
over
about.
a decade.
They've lied about it
What
today.
part did they lie about?
Let's just take a pause for
What
that because
part did
I
they
want
lie
to talk
about?
about the George Clooney
The
of it
guy
all.
went. No, wait, hold on, Abby.
Karine has repeatedly lied about this.
No, she has
And
not.
about
No,
who
you
and
are
about,
lying
and
right
about
now.
whether
Let me just
Biden
tell
was in
you
the
this.
meeting. She
No,
lied about it.
No, they have not.
How much money is Ana Navarro making to defend this man so vehemently? How much is she making? They've already been called out on a multitude of occasions about the lies that President Joe Biden has said over the years. How much is she making?
This is a White House medical unit doctor who has been part of this since Obama. During the Obama administration, he visited the White House over 20 times. Did Obama have Parkinson's? They have said.
I think you need to catch up on the news tonight. That's all.
No, I think you need to go read the truth. And you see, this narrative is part of the reason
and
why all of these questions
listen,
have not been shut
and
down. And I do think there's been reckless
I hear
reporting.
what you're saying, but there's no question that it's not a media narrative. 50 million
You
people.
don't think the media has? You
50
don't think there's
million
been reckless
people
reporting by
watched-
some media?
50 million people watched the president
Yeah.
on that debate stage, and on the George Clooney of it all. George Clooney was at this fundraiser, right? And the fundraiser they raised $28 million. He comes out of it and he thinks that something is wrong. And he goes to write this op-ed, and according to the New York Times tonight, the White House tries to stop him. They send Jeffrey Katzenberg to try to get him to not publish this op-ed. Another person who was at that fundraiser now comes forward and says the president did not look great that night. So it's not a media narrative. It's also coming from people who love and respect Joe Biden. They are just deeply concerned.
A lot of us are concerned. I mean, honestly, if that was your grandfather, you would tell granddad to go sit down somewhere. You know you would. You know you would. But Anna, look at her, defensive. She can't refute what Abby says, but she wants to just keep going. She wants to keep filibustering the conversation. I'll say this. Ana Navarro completely went off the rails. So much so that CNN had to shut her down. And you know things are bad when CNN is shutting down a leftist. She always has to bring it back to Trump some kind of way. And Scott Jennings is absolutely right. They have to turn the narrative around because they know they're losing. So you can either stick with Joe Biden and continue spewing lies to the American people, telling them what they saw or telling them what they are seeing right now with their own two eyes isn't real, or that it doesn't matter so much because quote unquote orange man is bad, or you can admit to seeing what we've seen for 4 years or 3.5 years for that and risk losing the presidency, but this time with Kamala Harris. They don't care about America. We know this because if they did, they wouldn't continue to push Joe Biden in our faces. They wouldn't continue to lie to us and tell us that this dude still has it, that he is still sharp as a tack, when we can all see that there is some form of decline happening with President Joe Biden. Now, they may say, we're going to put Kamala up there. We don't know. The DNC convention in Chicago in August, that may happen. But what we do know is that Kamala isn't much better. Now, she may be there cognitively, but I just don't think she's intelligent enough to do the job. So the Democrats are in a rock and a hard place, and they are scrambling. They are doing everything that they can to save Joe Biden's administration and his chance at becoming president or maintaining his role as president. But this is sad. It's sad to see. It really is. And Scott, goodness gracious, shout out to him for calling it out. I know he works for CNN. I know he works for, another arm of the Democrat Party. I know he does. But at least we have some people on that network that are willing to call a spade and willing to call out this foolishness. It's about daggone time. And honestly, we need more of the mainstream media pundits to call it how they see it. Call it and keep it real, because those people, they've lost a ton of credibility. No one believes them when they talk. People assume, just like they assume with Karine Jean-Pierre, that when she's talking, she's lying. That's what people assume when they listen to CNN, the cackling hens of The View, and anybody from MSDNC. But let me know what you guys think. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. Drop me a comment down below. I appreciate all the love and support. Consider joining the ARP family. It supports the team. It supports me. It supports this channel. It gives us the ability to produce content like this on a day-to-day basis. Keep God first in your life. Stay prayed up. And I'm going to catch up with you all next time. Peace.